Your videos here, to base be the glory.
Who that what? Who that? Who that what? Who that what? Who that what? Who that? Who that what? Who that what? 28 what? Who that? Hold that what? Who that what? Free back what? Who that? Whoa.
Welcome back to Who That 242. I'm your host, Tim Mays, episode 11 on the Solid Podcast Network. Shout out to our sponsors, KALIK, the Bay of the Bahamas, Coors, Light, Made to Chill, and Ricardo, uniquely Bahamian. We have, I don't know the call because I call him many names. I mean, you can see his name is Lamar, but when I met you, his name was Dash.
Wow.
So, and that's on the topic, Dash. Why was that? What was that era like? Dash.
Yeah, it was just I laugh when I look back and think about what I thought was cool then. Be like, that
almost
was
I was
so...
like, what, 10, not 10 years, like almost 10 years.
I'd be like, that was so stupid. Why did you do it?
So was it like Prince is like a symbol? Like, are you just a Dash? Like, what was...
I wish I was that smart at that point.
But you don't really know rhyme or reason.
No.
But it's so funny. I just started Who That 2014. And we met at Volume Music Bar.
Yeah.
And I just started Who That. So I had no mic and thing. We tried Who That on the Monaco Beach on the rocks. And it sounded like trash.
On the rocks?
So even this is our first official Who That will be coming out. It's like our third attempt at doing it. No, it's been a while I've known them. It was on the rocks. It was we had the whole.
It was so windy that day too.
It was windy, but it was a good backdrop. It was like he's talking about this. I didn't give me this. You had your music had something to do with music and things about water. So it was like
yeah.
it was like perfect. Oh man, wow.
Crazy.
Finally we have like an actual production studio and you have sound. You get sound test before this, you know?
Lights. They brought out lights for the black man.
we on Sunday, right? So we're helping in church, but I want you to just talk about these pearls you're wearing in your ears and in your neck.
I know, right? I don't know.
Is it because it's Sunday? You just felt like you're wearing pearls today?
I just felt like that. The spirit. But it just being very elegant today.
So I brought up Volume Music Bar. That's the first time I actually heard you sing. Can you remember? But that whole EP era, I was. Because I still remember. That's one of the few shows I remember like vividly at Fusion.
I remember that show, and I remember the work that came from that show. That show was so necessary. I mean, everyone always gets better, but that was a moment where I was like, "Babe, this is good." Like before, I wasn't sure.
Do you still listen to those songs? Do you still have those songs somewhere in the stash?
No, but it's not by choice. Mm-hmm. I had 2 system crashes, and an email hack, over the course of a while. Yeah. And so you was just talking about snakes. Mm-hmm. If it's older than a year, I don't have it.
You mean like 2019? You've done for 2019?
Yeah.
What? So I thought, I see the whole rebrand thing. It's just a new era. Because artists on your lane, pop and thinking R&B, they used to do eras the weekend of era. So I thought this was a new era. But you don't have nothing else, you know? it's gone.
You better start over.
It's gone. Life force. You know?
And so I was trying to do I kept on trying to transfer the files at one point to the next. And then when I finally settled on that laptop, it just came less and less and less and less saved. And then somewhere in the middle, well, not middle, but somewhere after the pandemic started, had a whole reset anyway. And so it was I have luckily shout out to BeatStars, but it's the portal where I meet my producers. I meet the producers and everything's on there. And I think maybe a year and a half ago they added a notepad. So I could write on the app to the beat and whatever I did. So the only songs I had left was what was written on the app.
And you wrote them to the beat, so the beat.
Yeah.
Well.
So the beat was still there. Yeah. But outside of that, I didn't have a reference for it. I might remember a line and be but I have no clue where that went. What goes with it.
Do you regret it, or you feel that was a cleanse you needed?
I regretted it at first because I thought that was some of the best stuff that I had ever done.
I guess the Lord was nope. Just saying what you think.
And then right up until Do You, because Do You was the turn. Mm-hmm. Right up until Do You, I was okay. Yeah, but yeah, if I didn't lose that, I might not have gotten better.
So talk to me about Do You and the moment you had. What about Do You made you feel okay, this is it? Out of all this stuff I got going on, Do You is the one.
2 things. The first time, I was humming the melody without the track. And then I had that first line, just up to sweat out these locks. I've been drinking Ciroc. And I had that like for like maybe 2 weeks, like just couldn't get it out. And then I came across the track and then I was like, oh, that would be great. And then I had a first version of it that was really stupid.
Like stupid, like there's something sense, like stupid, like crazy, like.
No, like it was like I was trying to be boastful and whatever, and I was listening to a bunch of hip hop and like I had this, it was stupid.
Like
it was
Jay
like
said,
a braggy.
you got your swagger back.
Yeah, it was real stupid. And then I left it, and then
I remember you telling me you had like different versions of the same song.
Of the same song, yeah. And I left it, and then I was out. And me and a friend just like talk a little bit, whatever. And from the conversation, then it started like coming together. And I wrote the first verse, recorded the demo, and it was just supposed to be an interlude. And then I sent it to a friend, and he was like, "No, you have to make it a full song." And then I was like, "Babe, I don't think I can make this a full song. You want to be on the second verse?" And he was like, "Yeah." He wrote, got ready for the studio and all that, and then the day of studio, he couldn't.
Wow.
He couldn't do it. And,
you told me this, right?
Yeah, and so like the 15-minute drive from home to the studio, I just had the beat stars up and like I write it. Just write the second verse.
Yeah.
And then I had already told Shad to come and like
do some stuff on it.
Yeah, cause chill out at the studio. I really like his air.
And Shad is a genius. Man.
Yeah. And so I'd offered him and I'd said, listen, maybe not to the level of like executive production, but like I want you in the room. I really trust your instincts and whatever else. So come through. Let me know if you vibe with this, that, or whatever. And then just by being in the room, he helped me like stack the harmonies and the melodies, and he came up with some other lines, and then some of those background vocals are him, and then we like put it all together in that like one studio session. So yeah, and then I was like, yeah, great. And then Kenny came to the studio too, and then I was like, go sing this part, please, because I can't get it right. I was doing the girl version of the Do You and my soprano. It wasn't working. And I was like, all right, please do this. Yeah. And then after that, I was like, you know what? Considering my history with people and how people don't like to like honor the craft, I was like, you know what? They didn't write anything on this, but this song would not be what it is if it's not them. And so I was like, they getting the full feature credit.
Nice.
And like, we'll push from there. Yeah.
So talk to me about the reactions, like both numbers wise and just like people you fuck with, other artists. Just talk to me what people think about the song. Everyone
that knew me before was like, damn. First of all, that's different because that I don't.
You acting different.
yeah, I was like, that's not you, because I used to be into like smooth R&B. Yeah, so that was the first for anyone that knew me. And then anyone that didn't know me, that just like saw me through social, I guess, was like, "Oh, I didn't know you do music." And then,
which is wild, because
right?
I met you in that period.
I feel like the only thing I like to talk about is like music and jokes. Right?
Yeah, like I don't know, like what else? They used to work out for fun and work. Like wow, like
I don't get it. Right? And then the numbers have been great. Like what took years, literally years of getting like social interaction and getting the reach and like having people listen to the song in a bunch of different places. Like I was just getting random notifications of someone listening in Russia, and then I was like, okay, good for me.
Yes, all the way that way.
Yeah, all the way that way. It's like, okay, I don't get it. And then when I got added to those couple Spotify playlists, that made it like the next thing, because that's the wave right now.
That's the goal, I guess. Like,
that's the goal right now. Yeah.
Because that's how I used to go to work and be like, I don't listen to it. I used to click and listen. I discover so many new
much new music, man. Yeah. That's why I love Tidal too. Like their curation list. I just find new stuff every week.
I don't know if people say the new music because like Snakes was like when you drop Snakes, like, I couldn't open up Twitter or Instagram and not see Snakes being promoted. Like,
yeah. So that's weird, and I actually talked to the PR company about it this time, and I was like, I think people are far too invested in the way I look. They're too invested in my fashion. They're too invested in everything that does not have to do with the music. Yeah. And so I fought them for weeks and was like, I'm not giving you a cover for Do You. Like, he was like, oh, maybe you could do something similar. No. something with your face. No. You're working out now. You should show. No. It's gonna be an eyeball.
So they want you to be like more like sell the aesthetic instead of the action music.
Yeah, and I was like, no. I feel like people judge the aesthetic first, and they look at the aesthetic, and then they think I should make a certain kind of music.
They assume, and when they hear it, they're seeing how easy.
This is not what they want. Yeah, because they probably come for a particular thing because of my aesthetic, and then they move on, or they see that I'm from the Bahamas and they want to listen because they think I'm gonna do something like that, and then it's like those people off, and I was like, no, I want to prove. And they told me that I didn't know what I wanted, and I was like, I know exactly what I want. I just don't want to do it your way.
Exactly.
And so I forced them, and then it was like, okay, we'll see if it works.
Right, so we have a Cold Hard Fox by Coors Light. And did you know the nickname for Coors Light is Silver Bullet?
Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet.
That would be a cool song too.
Silver Bullet. So the reason why I use this as the Cold Hard Fox use because I hear there's actually a name you had before I met you, before Dash. What was that name?
What?
Pauline said there was something.
Oh, Dean. Oh no. It's so stupid. I used to go by Ra, like R-A-H.
Like the sun god Ra?
Like the sun god Ra.
Okay, I can see it. I can kind of see the vision.
Right? Slash soul.
I can see it though.
I can
see it, the Egyptian god of sun.
I was
I can see it, like that ain't bad. You so cheerful, that ain't bad. I could see that. I even explain it, I actually broke it down.
There's a photo shoot with Sherrod. Oh my god, if you could find that, crazy. There's a photo shoot of me in the arcade downtown, right? Oh wow. With like a rock and roll like cuff with spikes on it, and then like a reggae cuff, right? And a pink shirt, and my whole hand on fire. Like, what was you doing?
Was that your first artist name?
Yes.
I mean, I think I explained it, but how did you actually get to Rasso?
I was in the studio with Margaret.
Okay.
Glenattis.
People don't even know she's sick.
Yeah.
They just know us though, you know.
Yeah. I was in the studio with Margaret, and I'd come across this track, and the producer had named it After the Storm. Okay. Right? And I had also just listened to Tadaz F5. Okay. And so I had this whole like idea of the elements and nature and water and all that kind of stuff just being like these really strong things, and then doing like this R&B but reggae soul type thing, something like with like Melanie Fiona and all of them ended up doing like in that kind of fusion, like that's what my head was. And so I was like, and I used to listen to a ton of music, Soul Child. Okay. So I was like, I really want soul in my name. I want everyone to know that that's what I do. Yeah. That's what right? And then someone just called me Ra one day at like an open mic. Yeah. Someone just called me like Ra one day, right? And then another time someone say Ra and soul together, like to bring me up to the stage, I think. Oh, so this was like an open mic? So like an open mic thing, whatever. I think they just said it, and then I was like, yeah. So stupid. Just being 20 and dumb and like that was the coolest thing. I used to wear so much color, dog. I used to wear a pink shirt, orange shirt, yellow shirt.
The whole reggae flag, rainbow, everything. Wow. So
with the reggae belt that like went down to the side of my leg.
I had a white one, I had a regular one, I had a light one, I had a dark one, I had a black one. Yeah.
I had the furry Kangol hats in like every color. Okay, pink, and white. Cool J. Well, that's the IG. Cool I had the pink thingum, and then with the like the head wraps underneath it, or the bandanas underneath.
Oh man, that was
ready.
You was fully invested. You was fully invested in the
Yes. So that's how I know if something works though. So
if you put yourself fully in there?
I think my music is like a 3D kind of thing. Like I want to eat a certain kind of thing. I want to drink a certain kind of thing. I want to dress up a certain way. And so when I write something and it makes me do that, it's like, yeah, that's the one.
So go back even further. Like, I usually ask at the beginning, but we have to go back to this whole name thing.
Yeah.
Why music? Like, what is your background? Like, do you have like father, mother? Like, where did the music come from?
There's nobody in my family that like does music.
No one.
In any like.
And no capacity at all.
In no capacity.
Wow.
But my family loves music.
So they probably played it a lot.
Yes. And I think it was just recently I realized like why I could write so well. B, why I could change to so many different like styles. Because I had everything around. Sorry, my mom.
Vinyls, cassettes, CDs, which one you talking?
Everything.
Okay.
Right? My mommy was like a strict country music fan. Kenny Rogers, like Bobby Womack, like all the way, like country, right? And then I had a couple aunts that only listened to gospel. I had some aunts and uncles that were like, they was older, but they was like in the cousin older kind of range, right? Yeah. So they would listen. My aunt used to listen to like Lenny Kravitz and Madonna and Janet Jackson, like all of the pop stuff.
And they really like Janet.
Really love Janet. Yeah. And then my uncles was weird. My uncles only used to listen to like the streetest like hip hop you could get, or West Coast hip hop. Okay. Right, like exclusively the only thing. Like that's it. Like they don't listen to nothing else. Right, like it's either West Coast or you have to get shot.
So in between.
No, it's the only music that they listen to, and then soul music. Okay. Like straight out 70s Marvin Gaye. Like that's the only thing that they listen to. Yeah. That's literally who I am. Like that's all I do.
And so you just, I guess, subconsciously just
soaking it all in. Yeah.
That's good. So when did you decide? Okay, but I ain't gonna do this for a career. Let me attempt to be an artist. Like, I'm gonna make the jump that I'm gonna try to do this full time. Like to studio time. Like, what was the turning point? And what made you decide that I could do this for a career?
I mean, when I first started, no one was interested in the kind of music that I wanted to make. I only wanted to write, but no one was interested in making that. And so it was like,
you had to be like, well, you gotta do be what you want to see.
Yeah, and then like there was this shift in the industry where being a writer became your brand, but only based on how you were as an artist. You know, like you would be a certain kind of artist, and then someone will hire you to write them something in that way. Yeah. So like being a writer, like being an artist became your resume to being a writer. You know, because a lot of people was making more work for other people than they were ever making for themselves.
I remember the girl. She just, man, is it Esther Dean?
Esther Dean, yeah.
Who wins a Grammy every year? And people don't realize it's her and someone else who wins a Grammy every year for writing. And people,
Esther probably does because Esther writes so much stuff. Esther, Stacy Barth.
That's the name I still remember. Yeah,
like they just write so much. Stacy Barth's first placement was Britney Spears.
Wait, that's a wild.
And it's so crazy. I met Stacy this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dope. And I don't find, like, I love artists, right? But I found out about writers the way people found out about like artists.
Of course, because you would know them. Like I probably I don't even know Stacy Barth looks.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how she looks.
And so she was just like walking across the hall, and I was like, you're my favorite writer. You're my favorite writer. And she was like you could see that she was pleased, but also maybe surprised to be like, I'm in the Bahamas. How does some random person like,
you know who I am,
right? And then to like qualify it, I was like, I used to listen to pop music so much, and you were the first Black woman that I knew that wrote for like a straight out mainstream pop girl. Obviously, it happened before that, but like in my age group, she was the first person I knew, and she wrote a Britney record, and I was like. And then she was like, "Oh, you really been listening?"
Yeah. You wouldn't just Google me and then
Yeah, and so that was that. And then the second time that when I really, really, really knew I could do this, I went to New York for a week, working in this ridiculous studio in Brooklyn, like ridiculous, $200,000 worth of like equipment, just just here, right? My little island self just in there like, oh, I need food. Oh, we'll send someone for that. This is me.
What?
What? Nice things?
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, throughout the week that I worked there, Azalea Banks was working there and Chris Brown was working out of there. And like, I was doing 10 to 12 hours every day, producing, co-producing, recording every day. Like 12 hours every day. And then when I was done, I came back and I was like, if I had to stand up against anyone that I admire, I could hold my own. And that's like, I was there. Like I was doing it. If you do a job for a full week, then you'd be like, yeah, I could do this.
I know it's probably difficult trying to bring that mindset here where people living themselves. It's not like you still have to have a job.
I still have
so
a
it's
job.
not like you
Yeah.
could sing and you could sing face up as like you could sing and pay your bills.
And you have to fund the dream.
So talk to me about how difficult it is to have this immense talent and these dreams and these goals. We live in a place where it's not fully funded, but yeah, like talk to me, but trying to balance that and like keeping hope that like
Yeah.
and also knowing where we have friends who live all over the world who could do it full time.
Who could do it? Yeah. It breaks your heart at some like at some points. It depresses you at some points. But I think at this point, like I've just resolved to do what I could do. And what success looks like, has changed for me. You know? Obviously I want money, I want access, I want to do what I want to do, but like success to me looks like someone new sending me a message and saying like, do you is my life. Like, do you is the realest thing I ever hear come from like around here. Like, I was listening to you and be like, that's my diary. Like, to hear people like react that way, that's success for me right now, you know?
That's good.
And the only thing I want is like to do a little bit better every time. If it gets way better, then I'm great.
Yeah.
I know what we did with Do You. The first part of the EP is 2 more songs. I want triple what Do You did. Because that just only makes sense, right? Yeah.
And sense, and see.
And see. Yeah, like if I could do this much this time, I give you more, I should be able to do a little bit more, which is why I'm stretching everything out.
Makes sense. So the next one's Ricardo. Their hashtag is uniquely Bahamian. So like, so your aesthetic, your like if I follow you on Twitter, I can know you're Bahamian. But if you look at your IG and stuff, you have a different type of aesthetic. But talk to me. What is your uniquely Bahamian thing? Like me, I like to drink sky juice and eat something for this. What's your uniquely Bahamian thing to do?
I mean, I'm trying to see. I mean, I really, really love the water.
Yeah.
Like going to the beach is a real thing for me.
Like we had said about it last week. He said his thing is the bush. He like going to the bush.
Yeah, like there's times where, like I have a kit. Like I have a whole drawer of beach stuff. Like I'd be ready for the beach.
You don't just go in the water.
No.
You got
ready
you got
for the
tanks.
beach anytime. There used to come a point like before I got so busy that like I used to always have it in the car because I could always just get off work, put my some trunks on, gone.
Yeah.
Work stressful, I could go on my lunch break. Then like whatever I could do, I could just like go. Because the water makes you feel small.
In the vastness of it.
Yeah, like you're so stressed out by all the stuff that's going on, and you feel like your whole world is crashing down, and everything is so like important and tragic and whatever, right? And then you go in the water and you literally like the smallest thing.
Like a drop in the
ocean. And it's like, maybe it's a little bit like, people don't like to hear it, but I think both emotions are good, right? But like to realize how nothing you are.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of like things, it'd be like, yeah, it's like in the grand scheme of things, how much am I expected to do, be there? Calm down, breathe.
Chill out.
You could figure it out next week. You know, like it ain't the end of the world, end of the world.
Yeah, that's pretty good to know. Like,
So
y'all take that advice and y'all feel stressed.
Let's
go to the water.
Go in the water. Just feel like, because it's so big.
Yeah.
So big.
Like you will never be able to fathom the
I could go to the beach 24 hours a day, and I will never be able to touch the same grain of sand like ever again.
Ever again.
Like I'll touch that today, and I will never be able to touch that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like
or 20 years from now.
Or 20 years from now, like. You'd never be capable of being bigger or more than that, than sand. And even bigger than sand, dog.
Bars. So pre-pandemic, you were still going by Rashad Lamar.
Yeah.
Full name. We made you just to drop your full name and let's just go full out Lamar. It fits by the way. It just sounds like Lamont.
Yeah. It's just go, right? Crazy enough, it trended really well in Haiti.
Okay.
My grandparents are from Haiti.
Right.
And when the PR firm was doing some stuff at first, we got this enormous wave of likes and shares and whatever from Haiti.
Because I mean, like, I can't think off the top right now much names like that we have in the industry like this.
Yeah.
In any genre, really.
And I wanted to do something that like, I don't know why my mom gave it to me. I don't know. I don't think it's like a traditional Haitian spelling, like nothing like that. But it just has like the energy of like Frenchness, I guess.
'Cause it's a middle name, right?
It's my middle name. Yeah. Like Rashad Lamont, my full name, right? But something about the Lamont, and I always remember really, really liking Jason Derulo when I was younger.
Before he became like a TikTok laughing stock.
You Jason Derulo, and I like, I'm fighting for you, Jason. No. So funny enough, there was someone who was here. This had to be umpteen years ago. That was looking for stuff for his very first album, and so I had actually submitted some demos and stuff for him. And I remember just being super excited because he was Haitian. And there weren't like a lot of Haitian musicians that I was seeing. Like,
because we all know Wyclef, but we don't really know no one. I don't know anybody else.
Exactly. And I was kind of pissed off that he had to change his name to Derulo.
Oh, what was it?
His name is Desroulet.
Oh.
But he was like, people won't.
They wouldn't say it.
They wouldn't say it. They wouldn't say it properly or whatever. And so phonetically, Desroulet.
Okay.
It's Derulo, but just spelt differently, right? And he had to like dumb it down for
I didn't know that.
like a pop audience. And I was like, without having to dumb my name down, Lamont squarely fits in like a pop space. And so I was like, you gotta use it. Like, got to like let that be the short stuff. And then when I want to do like my artwork and other work and my writing work, writing is definitely Rashad Lamont. But the artist stuff just simple. Yeah.
And talk to me about some songs, famous songs written that people would know really well. That you would like. Who you written for?
A lot of it never came out.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. I have something written for Anya that I really like, but that never came out. Like a lot of stuff that I've written for people hasn't come out, and funding is such a weird thing.
Yeah. And once you write this, do you get paid up front or you don't get paid as it comes out?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on what we decide. But Bahamians just generally lack funding for arts and creative stuff, and so it's highly unlikely that someone is going to be able to actually give me my writer's fee up front. Like I would like it.
Yeah.
I would definitely like it, but like the writer's fee that my agents have that they like putting out, ain't no one could just do it out of pocket, because then if you do that, how do you fund the song? How do you do whatever else, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I have slowed down on writing for other people. I really want to get my music and my stuff up to the space where I could do what I want. So back in the day, Prince had like a deal with the label for him to put out his work for sure, but for him to do A&R for other artists, and that's how he got to like sneak his writing in. And so he was doing his writing for Sheila E. and Nasty Six and like all this or whatever. So yeah, I want that. I want a source of funding. So yeah, I'll write it, but I want to choose the artist and be like, all right, when I give you this song, I also want it to have its life.
Yeah.
I want to be able to put it out. I want to be able to promote it. I want it to have its life. I hate writing stuff that just like has to stay in my computer.
Right, that makes sense. So our last one, so KALIK is the Bear of the Bahamas.
Yes.
And the reason why this relates to you is that you are a Bahamian artist. It doesn't sound like a Bahamian. So how do you, have you ever had to struggle with that? Do you get any type of like pushback on that, like from your peers or anything?
People say it and I think it's stupid.
I do too.
Because I think it diminishes how hard it is to do Bahamian music. I cannot do Ronnie Butler.
Yeah, right.
I just can't. I don't have the gravitas to do that. I don't have the kind of energy and charisma it takes to go on a stage and entertain Bahamians who are arguably like the most boring audience.
but it's so hard to please.
So hard to please.
They just stand there.
Yeah, but like it's so hard to get
in your face. Like you on stage out of breath, you sweat.
Out of breath.
They just like.
It's so hard to get joy from them.
They phone
right. Like so hard to get joy from them. And so, like, I don't have the capacity in me to perform at that level. I could do what I do really, really great, but I can't do that, right? And then it's funny because I think Bahamianness is like an energy.
Yeah.
In the way that other Caribbean countries have like a physical thing, I think to be Bahamian is kind of like an energy, a spirit more than anything else. And it's crazy to me that we have international artists come here, feel our spirit, make some of the best-selling records that have ever been put out, right? In rock and pop and world music and Latin music and like all this stuff, but they come here and they feel the energy and they record
And
this,
we live
right?
here, we can't
and
take
we live
advice.
here. We don't tap into that energy, but we also like disqualify the energy because if you want to be a rock and roller, being like the energy of rock and roll is so good for our country. It's why pirate culture is pirate culture.
I like what Chara them does with the rock.
Right? Like, so like if we could live that, like that energy, I feel like we'd have so much more fun, babe. But again, Bahamian's just hard,
Yeah.
y'all.
And do you feel that you, as a Bahamian Haitian black man, like all these things you are, like, do you start to do what you do in
It like stacks, it compounds and makes it all like boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember at this one point I had this agent who would get me booked for stuff, and I used to be so happy because I'd be like, I finally get to leave the country to like, and then I'd show up and it'd be like a reggae concert.
Wow.
And I realized like y'all only hire me because my flag in my bio, and then that's it. But like y'all ain't listening.
Yo, you ain't hear what you ain't even listen to my music. Like, you really think I gonna go out there and reggae go?
My dog, I am not letting them people fool me.
Too much pride for that.
No. So I like my lane. I do my lane. I have pride in my lane. I have no aspiration to be anybody but myself.
And so we talked about this on the, I think it was a boat. How you feel about other artists, like the Frank Oceans and Lil Nas X. Like, how do you feel like that representation? And
Yeah.
do you think it's, some people might think they're lying about it? It might just be like for show. Like, do you ever struggle with, do I put more of myself in the music and put myself out there when you live in a Caribbean country?
Yeah. I think no one chooses adversity.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I don't care how much you want to pervert it. No one chooses adversity. And when people put you in boxes, then you go in smaller boxes and then smaller boxes. So like you're in the box of being black, right? And then we go in this smaller box of being Caribbean. And then we go in this smaller box of being Bahamian, who don't necessarily have the greatest relationship with like other Caribbean
Right, because
people.
they think we so bougie.
Right? And then you go in this other box of being in an immigrant family in the Bahamas where immigrants aren't really like
accepted
and whatever, right? So like another box, right? And then where you live, what your social status is, box. What your job is, box. Your religion or lack thereof, box.
Your politics,
box. Like there's everything in the world that tries to make you go like smaller, less access. Who would choose to add one more box?
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it.
Yeah, just to sell records.
Just to sell records.
Yeah.
No one would choose that. No one would choose the obvious hate and backlash that comes to black men in that way. No one would choose that. Mm-hmm. The only thing you choose is that
I guess unburden yourself from having that.
Yeah. To unburden yourself and still be hated is better than to be like burdened and hated.
And still
hated.
Yeah, like
anyhow.
wait, I might as well say it.
At least I could have some freedom.
And you said you basically have like 7-8 boxes that you're put in by the society. Have you ever said, "Babe, I just keep this to myself"?
Yeah, but then it doesn't work for anyone. I can't remember where it came from, but I got this message that's through social media one day, and the person was like, "There's so many people in the world." He said, "The hard thing is you are not born close to any of the people that need you.
Damn.
Your only goal in life is to figure out how to get to the people that need you and how to get to the people that you need. Because if those two people do that, then they are fine." Lil Nas X is doing as well as he's doing because he has found people who in regular circumstances never get anything for themselves. And so that representation matters to them. Mm-hmm. It don't matter to you, but you wouldn't represent him anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like at one point, someone was like, do you get mad that a lot of Bahamian radio stations wouldn't play your music, right? And I'm like, I don't. And they was like, that don't make you mad? I was like, all the artists that I listen to who are international, Grammy winning, that or whatever, they also would not get played on local radio because it's just not the vibe. So why would I be mad at that? Like, they wouldn't listen anyway.
And in 2021, you don't need the radio to get to who you need
to get who you need to get to.
It helps.
It helps.
It helps, but I mean, there's as many ways to get to who you need
to get to who you can get to, right? It's something simple as someone asking me for a radio edit or a clean edit for Do You, and I said no. And they were like, but I want to play it on the radio. I was like, it's not for you. If the song has to be changed to be given to you, it is not for you. I am living the philosophy of sending music to who it's for and hoping that the people who it's for are also reaching out to take that, to come back in. Obviously, I'll do some other songs that'll be radio friendly. Do You isn't.
Do You isn't the same.
It's not that.
Yeah.
And if I bastardize it and change it to make you happy, I kill myself. That's selling out to me. Let me give it to the people who it's supposed to go to, the way it's supposed to go to them. Let them enjoy it, and then this other stuff will happen. So for the people who push back at Lil Nas X and all these other people, I'm like, let the people who this is supposed to be for enjoy what's there. You have no obligation to listen to it or to see it or whatever else. Let the people who it's supposed to be for enjoy it and like move on. Like, it could be so simple.
So you said EP. I know we have like 2 more months left. And 3 more months. We get an EP this year.
You getting volume 1 this year?
Volume 1.
Yeah. Okay. You getting volume 1.
So I think you got some songs to play for us from the EP.
Yes, I'm in my Kanye today. I'm gonna let you hear the demos of volume 1.
Okay. So
yeah, so, we know Do You already, and then you're gonna get 2 other ones. So this is basically like the night of Do You, and the morning after. So Do You is the drunk rant.
Yeah. So it's
text.
Do You the first?
Yeah, on volume 1. So Do You is the drunk rant, ridiculous conversation that you have with someone when you're drunk. And then Negotiate is like that nail in the coffin. It's like the last thing that you say that's so disrespectful that it's like, ain't no one answering this message right now, dog.
Yeah.
Because why you say that? Why would you freak out like that?
I ain't answering you now.
Right? And then still it's like the next morning where it's like, I regret what I said. I know I regret how I said it, but I don't regret nothing I said. So I mean that still.
So producer, whenever you ready.
Yeah. Negotiating then still.
Negotiations, don't negotiate. Wait. Barely had discussions, you just felt the repercussions. Barely had to come and barely had the point to come from. Tough to find the real ones when the fake ones are accustomed. Had to make a dent and get you bent for your assumptions. Facing down, you're breaking down, it's fucking my consumption. Bitch, you had the color, bitch, you really had the gumption. Had to fuck you function, ain't you at the function? Shitting with that nigga with my dick still on your conscience. Yeah, don't negotiate, no negotiations. I don't negotiate, cause that shit's so lame. I don't negotiate, no negotiations. I don't negotiate, cause that shit's so lame. No negotiations, stand on my negotiations, cause that shit's target, that this don't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, negotiate.
And see, I hear Am Colorized. So this song is very like, I feel like I'm driving home late at night and from the club and.
Yeah. I trying to really make stuff visceral. Like I trying to get you to feel it, right? Like I even method singing at this point. Like because I know this was whole written from like a drunk experience, and he wasn't getting the vocals right, and so I literally pulled up to the studio with Kevin. Kevin's the engineer.
Okay.
With like bottles of champagne, bottles of tequila, bottles of whatever, and I was like, we're getting drunk, and then I'm gonna record this.
Wow. Just to make sure you keep
just
the
to
energy.
make sure that the energy is like where it's supposed to be.
And the next one says still.
Still.
You know me to send that message still. I'm sentiment, it's shock your access still. It's fuck you. Fuck him too. I'ma be over by the end of the day. You know that you need me, so please end what you say. Please don't take my liquid courage personally. Promise I will make this up real personally. We are always better in person. When you do not acknowledge that person, why you let them die, that shit is dumb. Hey, hit me when you wanna have some fun. You only come here when you're lonely and you need that shit found. And your glory in the morning trying to get another round. Singing, I say in the shower, how I know I put it down. That's how I know I am amazing, I done figured you out. But it's still fuck you. And fuck you too. You'll remember we were closer, leaning on my shoulder. Held you like I'm supposed to. Held you down through worst time. And you're ready for no altar. Guess that's why we falter. Cause he brings you under. But do we hit them corners? You're only coming when you're lonely and you need that shit found. And your glory in the morning trying to get another round. Singing, I say in the shower, how I know I put it down. That's how I know I am amazing, I done figured you out. But it's still fuck you. And fuck you too.
So you say you find these beats so you find the beats first, and you're right.
Yeah.
See some good production.
Yeah. Oh, the production is so good. I primarily get this all from one producer.
Okay.
Like I find other people, but he's my whatever, and he has like some ridiculous writing credit. I mean, some ridiculous production credits. Yeah.
So we get volume 1 this year.
You got volume
so what's
1
the
this
name
year.
of the EP?
Still.
Oh, so the name is okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we get the Still EP featuring
Yeah.
Still and just
Negotiate.
just these 3 songs.
For volume 1, yeah.
Okay, so now
Yeah.
again we had the mix and master, and
And then you get
the
Still Part 2, Still Part 1 and 2,
Okay.
and then
So this is Still Part 1.
yeah,
Okay.
and you Still Part 2, then Best Decision Ever, and then Best Decision Ever Still.
So 6. Do you?
Do You is the single, yeah. So we got Still Volume 1, Still Volume 2, Best Decision Ever, Best Decision Ever Still.
Okay.
No.
Good stuff. So before we get anywhere, so how soon? Where you want people to wait to listen to come on? What you want people to do?
I think they're doing everything in like quarters.
Okay.
Like we can do something this quarter, and then top quarter next year we'll get 2.
So we getting some music soon from Lamar.
Yeah, like sooner than whatever.
Like you could blink and close your eyes and the music could be on your favorite streaming apps.
Yeah. The writing is done.
Okay.
I have like 185 things
Wow.
written.
Wow.
So like the writing is done. The hardest thing now is like figuring out what to finish, and the demos are done. Like so, figuring what to finish, what to put the attention at, what works together. Like those 3 work together. There was other stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was like,
I
they're great, but they don't work.
figure that's the hard part, like, to pick which songs mesh well together.
Yeah, it's like that could be great, but that don't like
And you're gonna do like a
fit.
cover art for this, for the volume. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then that way we just have like different stuff like that and keep on stacking. A little bit better every
Are
time.
we getting some
That's my goal.
visuals? Or are you trying to be like the artist so you can't see? Or
No.
I don't wanna give you these fashion vibes and you want me song stuff like that.
No, we can get visuals. You can get like some form of visual. Yeah.
All right, so thank you for episode 11. We finally get out legit on camera.
Hey,
Who that?
hey.
And stay tuned for more music from Lamar. This is Who That 242 with your host Tim A, and see you next time.
Who that what? Who that? Who that what? Who that wait? Who that what? Who that? Who that wait? Who that wait? 28 what?